Morning guys, today we're going to be fitting up a couple of our AS Performance carbon goodies to this G80 M3. We've got some CSL style intake grills, dry carbon side intakes, we've got some mirror caps going on, rear spoiler, a couple other little goodies we're going to throw in there to spice things up. We're going to run you through how we do the install and the fitment and quality of some of these parts that we bring in, along with the behind the scenes throughout the day. So we've got all sorts of cars coming in and out. I'm sure we'll get you through some of those and see what we do on a regular basis. So we've got the car up on the lift. These are the parts we're going to be throwing on today. So we've got the full dry carbon CSL style intake grills, which has got the duct for the ACC braking guard on this model. We've got the side intake vents as well. So these obviously will go in place up here. We've got the dry carbon mirror caps, which is a right-hand drive model. These aren't that easy to get, so we've put them into production. We've also got the spoiler cap, which is going on the boot lid. We're going to start with the front today, so let's get cracking. Sweet, so we've got the plastic trim cowling off, which has the weather seal on the front. We've got a bunch of T30s along the front, which will come off. There's two screws which sit in behind the bumper up into the fender. So we'll pull the fender liner back and access those, and then we've got all the rest down below. These are our new fully forged monoblock wheels. So this car is running a 2010 front, 2011 rear, 10.5 front. These we have made to order. So basically you'd see we've got a whole bunch of milling and pocketing in the backs of the spokes in the back of the rim to help bring down some of the weight. Then we've got like this beadlock window design on the front, which is just super modern, something real different to our market that you don't really see very much. These are available in any color. We do either a single piece CNC cap, which these has, or we've now got a 3-piece forged cap, which we can run on this as well. If you guys ever want anything, just flick us a message and we'll sort you out. So you don't have to, but we'll pull out the front fender liners and just give us some more clearance for the access around the top, and just make sure that we don't have any issues with paint and scuffing around the headlights. Just going to whack this front splitter off so we can get to all the bolts. We'll just lift it up for you. We've got the right-hand side intake fitted up. It's quite cool to see them side by side. So you've got the mesh on the left-hand side, the original, and the dry carbon duct on the right-hand side. There's quite a lot behind these bumpers. They've got separate structures for each side. So that's your inner crash structure for the right-hand side. Everything all clips in, same as the OEM. These all clip on both sides. There's no sticky tape or glue or anything like that. The main reason they do that is to help with production costs. So if you're doing a bumper repair, replacement, you can order each part individually. These from behind stick in the same as the OEM grill, so it's all using the original clips. There's no plastic welding or drilling or cutting or wiring or anything weird going on. They literally clip in place, same as the OEM part. Ta-da!
It looks like a love heart, doesn't it?
Just got all the carbon pieces back in. I've just loosely fitted up both the inner plastics on each side. Houses all the blind spot monitoring and whatnot in these little modules up in the corner. I'm just going to go through and check that all the clips are actually locked in place where they need to be. Then I can start running that wiring loom back in its original position, clamping it the whole way along. Then we're ready to throw it back on. Clip, clip, clip. So we've got the front end all back together, had a bit of a lunch break, can now reconvene on the rest of the car. So we've just played around with all the fitment. We basically spent a little bit of time making sure we've got all the gapping right, both on the sides of the fenders up to the bumper, so it doesn't look like a bumper's ever been off. Same with the grille. Whole way around you can see the fitment's actually really nice on this. So, and we've got really nice tight body lines the whole way through all of these parts. In terms of fitting on the back, you would have seen obviously how we've thrown it in, but it's the same as the original stuff. So push clips the whole way from behind. If you have experience with pulling these off and off enough times, you can always use a little spring clip on the back of them, or a bit of silicone or urethane to try and keep them in there nice and tight. It'd be the same as doing the OEM. So once you get painted enough times, you will start to get a looser tab through the bumper. We've got the split and everything back on the car. We're basically going to pull it forward now, throw on those other goodies we've got. So dry carbon mirror caps and the little deck boot spoiler. Let me know what you guys think. I think it suits the front end of these cars. Since they got released, it was obviously quite controversial with the original grille with the horizontal slats. That is a big statement part. I think once you see them in person, it adds like quite a strong three-dimensional look to the front of the car. If you see this thing coming at like 100% as a statement piece, it's a pretty big get out of the way, see me coming kind of vibe coming from it. So I'm really happy with the carbon contrast against the Dravit grey paint. We'll hopefully throw that in title together with all the rest of the parts.
Today we have been installing drive shaft tubes on a Ford FG Falcon. As you can see, we've got one in and two. We're getting this car ready for cert. And to finish it off, we just need to chuck the drive shaft back in and hopefully they'll pass cert.
We got this F90 M3 coming for a set of springs, Maxton kit and AS Forged wheels. Currently working on the front springs at the moment. So with the rear, we have to pull out pretty much the whole interior apart. As you can see, parcel tray is out, and now we can get access to the top hats for the rear struts. Now that we have access to the top hat nuts, we can now work on loosening all the bolts to the rear struts and swap the new springs in.
We're going to be replacing the whole shell casing, so it's not a stick-on carbon cap, we're actually replacing the lens housing itself. Generally, it's a good idea to just mask the inside of the frame because we're going to pop this glass out and let it hang for a couple of minutes while we undo some tabs. To pull these out, I generally want to push the mirror all the way in. Then you can get behind and grab the back of it, and it does feel weird, but you literally just need to give a bit of a pull and it will unclip. Once it's all unclipped, you can see there's a bunch of wires on the back. I'm just going to use a few trim tools and screwdrivers and whatnot to get these off, but essentially you've got the blind spot monitoring tab and then your heated control lines on the inside. Once we pull those off, this inner shell casing actually has to detach from the whole housing. I'll show you that in a second once I got all these lines off. There's 4 little T10 screws around the mirror cap. You'll see them quite clearly when you pull it off. That's basically this front part of the shell. I'm going to break those off and pull the shell away using the pry tools. And then there's 2 little clips on the inside. I'll show you those once the capsule's all cracked off. Essentially with the trim tool, you do need to get something super small and that won't mar or damage plastic. But essentially with this, I just get it behind the wedge and you'll see that it kind of almost tries to pop off there. These 2 clips on the inside are what's actually holding it for the most part. So once you get this pried off of the inner shell, we can pop these 2 tabs open and the whole thing will split open. Once it splits open, we'll reposition and pull this back shell off. You can start to get the LED indicator lamp off. Then we'll transfer that all over to the new carbon one, reassemble it all in reverse. So I've still got the top tool in place and you do have to apply quite a bit of pressure, but you can see I've managed to pop these 2 clips. You can see these 2 outer ones are still in place, so those tabs are still held in there. Basically we'll go through behind and we'll just slowly get around and then this whole shell will come off from the front. Cool, that's those two off. We can go around and just keep applying pressure to the shell. And you'll see it wants to basically separate from itself the whole way around. I've broken the shells free from both sides. There's two little T10s that hold the side indicator on, bottom and lower. The new mirror cap will have the same again, and then all the rest of these tabs are basically what just holds it in place. Those are the two that we would have broken free from the inside to get it free from this casing. They sit just in the back there. This is only sitting here like this because obviously our mirror's still got those little C's tabs on it. We're not going to pull it the whole way through. I can just do it in place. So these will get swapped over and I'll throw it onto the new one. So I can throw the indicator back in. This does actually have like a slide sort of style for it to fall in place. So throw that in there, and then you'll see it wants to actually slide back on itself. Once it slides back on itself, these tabs, which stop it from backing out, will then line up. And same with these screws. You can see the screw holes. Once everything gets in its position, there's a little tab down here locking it all in place. Now I can go ahead and screw that back in. This can slide down. That's better. I can throw these 4 T10s back in. Just gonna nip these all in for now. And then once I hold the whole shell back together, we'll tighten them all up in place. Now this is the final chance to go around and check the fitment the whole way around. If there's anywhere that's tight or loose or needs to be played around, because all those 4 screws are loose, you can still do that. Same with the whole shell casing, you see there's still a bit of movement in it. So I'm going to start up here and just tighten up all these to exactly where they need to go. It's already nice and tight. Clip. It sits in there. And this guy tucks up all the way up here. It's clipped in, those are still on. And then this just comes back off the same way, which is by clipping in place. There you go. Mirrors will need to be reset, but that's all done. Mint, all back together. You can see it's all nice and tight. There's no issues with fitment on it. It looks solid, matches up with the carbon interior and the roof line. All of the cameras and assists and everything's still there. You can see. Working. I'm masking this off because the boot, or the whole car's been ceramic coated already. Tape doesn't even stick. Basically, the very ducktail spoiler and just below it was left because I knew that this was going to be going on. So hopefully the new one doesn't move too far over into the coated section. If it does, it's not a major. We'll just have to polish back some of that coating so we can get it to stick nicely. Otherwise it won't want to stick to the paint where it's been coated. New one, go like this. Basically same style as OEM, but a little bit bigger, a little bit more accentuated, and then again it's going to contrast nicely against that carbon roof. So I'll pull this off and see how we go. It does actually fit slightly nicer than the OEM one because it comes all the way to the end of the boot lid. However, because it sits further back to give it more of that flick up, you can see it's like 10 mil short of where the original one sat. So what I'm going to do is, obviously I was saying it's coated, I'll have to camera wheel all of this back, take off all this old 3M tape, and then we're going to polish the whole thing. Once the whole thing's polished, I can put the new spoiler on, leave it with the masking tape on. Once masking comes off, we'll go over with a ceramic coat over the top, and then it's all back to how it was. You leave the adhesive on, but leave the backing, and then just peel off the corners, then you can basically place it where it needs to go without it sticking and never coming off again. You can line up each corner, feel where they need to go. about a mil. Edges stuck on. So now we can go through, pull off that top piece, and then just leave both sides so that if you, for whatever reason, snap or get stuck halfway, you've still got a backup. So along the bottom, you can pull that one off, leave this tab out, grab the corner, done. Comprende. Once this is all back out and cleaned, we'll get it all prepped and throw some ceramic on it as well. Then we know that she's all back to how it was before we upgraded. So we've got this back on the ground. We've finished everything we need to on the outside for this episode. So we've got the new CSL grill in. You can throw this one away now. Same with the side intakes. So we've got rid of the mesh style ones of these. Those can now go away. We've got it sitting nicely with the full maxed in design kit. This is the CSL style in gloss black. We've also tied that in with the mirror covers. We've just shown you that, which goes into the roof and all the rest of the kit. So we've got the spoiler all fitted up. We got all the polishing done, got the old residue off, cleaned and tidied up. It still needs to have that ceramic coat thrown on, but we'll get that on there shortly. So now it's got more of that CS style. It's just a little bit more aggressive than the OE, but doesn't look too crazy. It's not unmatched to anything else. And we've still got the CSL maxed in design kit the whole way around as well. Next we'll go to the interior. We'll chuck on the carbon mag paddles just to replace the plasticky feeling factory ones. So we've got the new steering wheel installed. We're not going to bore you with the finer details of swapping over each and every little part of it, but we've basically got it all swapped in now. So there's quite a lot that actually changes, especially in the newer generation, in terms of specs and what each car has. So this one had the heated steering wheel, which still goes around the circumference and has been swapped over. It retains the vibration motor. If you've got lane keep assist, then as you come towards those lines on the road, it'll give you a bit of a vibration. It's also got the blind spot monitoring keys through the top, so it does change when we spec the center pieces with carbon or no carbon, how we need to spec that. This one we've gone with a black Alcantara, which matches the factory seats around the comfort seats on these. We've done a contrast grey stitch, which matches both the paint on the car obviously, and then the grey contrast stitch throughout the interior. And then this is also a perforated 12 o'clock marker, which is a bit of a homage to the M5 CS or the M3 CS of the F series, but suits this. It's a little bit more subtle and subdued. We've also chucked our mag shift paddles in here. It's got the carbon shift paddles, which is a big improvement over the stock G80, which is a plastic textured paddle as well. So we've got everything all fitted up. So we've run you through the details and intricacies of how we fit everything. We've shown you the quality of the parts and the fitment and what goes on in behind the scenes. There is multiple options available, but there's a reason why we go through and make sure we work with the correct partners. If there's something you're interested in, make sure you give us a call. We are working a lot of R&D for all sorts of cars, including these. Some of that includes your front-facing intakes, your closed air intakes and carbon, open cone intakes, full exhaust systems, valve controls, the list goes on and on and on. There's also a lot of cool builds coming up through the winter season, getting ready for summer. A lot of that stuff's behind the scenes and we can't reveal it until the cars are ready to go and the owners are happy to do so. If you want to stay on top of some of that behind the scenes content and see some of those juicy builds that are coming through, make sure you like and subscribe to videos, and we'll catch you in the next one.